Now, here's your hosts, the League Dad, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair.
Hello and welcome to the All In Podcast. We're here with another episode. MSI is on the horizon starting in about a week or two. We're here to catch you up on all the news that's happening since the end of LCS and on some of the teams that we'll be playing at MSI. First things first though, how you doing, Kevin? How's life?
I'm doing all right. Life has been pretty okay otherwise. Yeah, just looking forward to MSI. I'm going to Hawaii next month, and then
Oh wow.
we were talking about this before the podcast, but I can't say more because I literally work there. But TikTok got banned, or not banned, forced to sell due to a Senate bill passing, and
Yeah.
I literally can't comment more publicly about my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. We're just gonna leave it at that. That's crazy. So how have I been doing? Much less exciting, much less interesting. I've just been kind of hanging out, honestly, playing League. I've started climbing in League again. Played a little bit of ranked today, actually. Been playing Garen Jungle. Yep, very off meta. I've found that I can't play League. Unless I do something weird. If I play normal champs, I just get bored. I can't do it anymore. I can only play so much like Vi and like Lee Sin and Wukong and shit. I just fall asleep. So yeah, Garen Jungle has been very unique. Um,
I love Garen. He's so silly.
he's so fun. He just zooms around and clears up, eats up minion waves. Like I always have the lowest damage in all the games because I'm just power farming 24/7. Yep, pretty toxic. Anyways, let's talk about some news in the League of
Mhm.
Legends sphere. Most exciting news for me, anyways, is that there's a rumor that there will be 3 international tournaments for 2025, and that is basically was kind of precursored or like spoiled by the fact that EU was doing 3 splits. A lot of people theorized, including us, that the introduction of 3 splits in LEC would lead to 3 international tournaments and would lead to all the regions doing 3 splits. Um, yeah, there's going to be a ton of format changes. I mean, LCS is no stranger to format changes either. So we'll see what the future holds with us. But what are some of your first impressions? What are your takes on this new news?
I think that this is. I mean, we've speculated it before, but my immediate reaction is this is good news. It means that we're doing more esports, we're doing more tournaments. I wonder if this is one of the international tournaments is the one that's hosted in the Middle East, but I don't think so because this is Riot hosted. So I think this actually means just like another tournament. I'm hoping that they raise the hype value of it and also raise the hype value of MSI because MSI last year was actually honestly such a crazy good format.
Yep.
But it's all about the prestige and it's all about how big you make it. If you make 2 like almost worlds and then 1 worlds, I'm fine with that. But you need a little bit more.
Yeah. I hope that they're all worth something because I think LEC is currently struggling with it feels like they have 3 splits but 4 titles or trophies you can get, and it makes them all not seem very worth getting, right? Like I think it's also muddled by the fact that G2 keeps winning. So it's like you kind of forget it's like there's spring, winter, summer. Okay, G2 won like all of them. Like I don't even know at what point in the year are LEC in, right? So I think LEC and other regions will need to figure out how to make every split meaningful, and then Riot will additionally need to make sure that all of their international tournaments feel meaningful and important and hype. So yeah, that's also my big concern. But I am also down with this. I think that this can only be good for the LCS. It can only be good for Western audiences. More time playing, better teams, more chances to get a title or like go far in an international tournament, because every international tournament, right, as soon as you get to the bracket stage, it's just all Asian teams, right? Occasionally you have one NA team like us last year or one European team like the year before with like Rogue or something, but like it's almost always just 8 Asian teams, 7 Asian teams in the bracket stage. So the more chances we get, the higher likeliness that we can slip in there and actually, get closer and closer to actually getting a title one of these days, right? So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Some other news. I just want to talk about um, something that's probably not worth mentioning, but I'm going to mention it anyways. And this is a little bit of double lift drama. We shouldn't even talk about it, but we're going to, I guess, because he's LCS. But double lift, basically, he made an MSI tier list. It was terrible, and then he went and reviewed Cagel's tier list, which was like the most normal tier list ever, and said it was dog shit, and was like making fun of Cagel, saying he was on drugs and was being paid off by the Chinese government. It's all jokes. It's all classic. Double lift is just talking out of his ass. But it got really a little bit out of hand. Dom came to Cagel's defense. Dom flamed his tier list, and how Double lift basically only watched like one series from each region and then made a tier list and then started flaming other people's tier lists. So yeah, any comments on it? And it's kind of stupid, but
It's kind of stupid, but it's also just like this is literally what formed the basis of League of Legends. Like this is the kind of buy-in you need. I don't want to get too analytical about literally 10 IQ drama, but
yeah,
it was pretty dumb. I if you haven't seen Double's tier list, very quickly we can run through it. Top tier Genji T1, the tier after that S tier BLG, under that G2 Fnatic and Top Esports on the same tier, then FlyQuest, then Team Liquid, then PSG, and it doesn't matter after that.
yeah,
Those are all different tiers. So that's what Doublelift put. Meanwhile, I'm only going to say the top 5 for Casual so we don't waste time. BLG by itself in the top tier, then Gen GT1, then Top Esports, then G2.
yeah,
Everything else is underneath that. And I'm like, to me, like, yeah, I mean, I pretty much would agree with that. Maybe I put Gen G up a bit, but otherwise, like at the same tier. But it's a very vanilla tier list. It's not controversial at all. It wasn't like Cage was farming for clicks or anything. He just gave his reasoning, reasoned it out, and double ifs. Man, how do you even get? You should just like I should let you talk before I just ran about the double ifs reasoning behind it.
yeah.
The way
No,
like the you must
yeah.
be on drugs part, whatever. The social credit, all jokes, but he did kind of just go. It's the combination of everything that's like it's a little much.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, it just feels like he's just farming content. He's just making up drama, being overzealous for no reasons, and that's what this whole situation is, right? Because yeah, Double F's analysis throughout the years has been faltering. He's been making more and more L takes. Like this is a big L for Double Lift in terms of you know, IQ checks. Yeah, he's overrating EU quite a bit, right? Like Casual is a guy who watches almost every single European game, probably every single LEC game, and he rated them quite lowly. And he also watched most LCS games this year. Casual watched almost all LCK games, and some LPL games. And
Yeah,
like when you consider how much content Casual consumes versus Doublelift, who basically only he skimmed through the finals of the LPL. He watched the finals of LCK. He watched the finals of LEC and you watch all LCS, right? Not enough bases to make a full tier list, and if you're gonna make a tier list like that, not enough to insult another man's tier list who did put in the time. So I think that's why a lot of people are upset. And I gotta say, I was just amazed that Cage or Doublelift watched the finals of LEC and thought that G2 and Fnatic looked good. Like they were like better than top esports and in contention with BLG. Like I watched both finals. I didn't watch all the regions like Cajal did, but even just watching the finals from my point of view, it was like no, it looked like G2 and Fnatic was like significantly lower quality than what BLG and Top Esports were putting out. And like BLG was like much better than Top Esports, but and Top Esports kind of underperformed maybe in the finals. But definitely for G2 Fnatic, it was a big fiesta. It was like not very clean, honestly. It was a bunch of lane swap bullshit shenanigans in that final. So interesting how Double F's opinion was formed. Maybe he just spent years and years getting pooped on by G2 and Fnatic, and he never actually played against Top Esports or BLG, so he has no opinion. I don't know, but it was an interesting take. Any last thoughts on this topic before we just kind of throw it in the trash?
yeah. So some speculation I saw on the Reddit thread, and I sort of think it's not all the way there, but there's some merit. Was like Double's viewership hasn't been the same since he started. When he started, he was doing 30, 40K, just like what Kdro can do on a playoff game, or Kdro does higher even for like LCK finals. He did 100K. Double's viewership's just like down to like 5 or 6K. Honestly, it almost feels like he's rage baiting. Like he's just like, okay, I to become more relevant, I need to attack the bigger streamer. And it's very strange to me because I think Double Up could very easily be a huge streamer if he put in the time, did the grind just like Cadril did after Cadril was not popular when he retired. He was memed on for his terrible Malzahar play, his very short mid lane career. Like he was memed on a lot. Even
Yeah.
though I think he was like at least a mid tier jungler. He was a mid tier jungler who might have been better than it looked, but he had some very bad on stage moments.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
but he managed to become so popular because he put in the effort. You know, as you said, he watches the four regions. He doesn't need to anymore. He's so popular he could just do LEC, but he still does the grind. And Double F still, I mean, he does watch all of NA and he watches a little bit of the other regions, but he just clearly isn't. His heart isn't as much in it. He when he's not on a cast with Medios and Sneaky, I really don't think he can carry the analysis alone,
No.
and his personality variety isn't enough, I think,
Yeah.
currently. So I really think that there is some merit to it. He might feel that, like, he might not know it actively, but he might feel a little desperate to put himself out there because he's not
Yeah.
playing.
Farm
And
some
when he's not
views.
playing it, he's a lot less popular.
Yeah, I
I mean, 5 to 6K
watched.
is a lot, guys. It's more
Yeah.
than Dom, by the way, who he's having drama with, which we didn't talk about much. I don't care. I think Dom is friends with Kadril. I think that he's gonna come to his defense anyways, and Dom hates Double. Like I don't really think his opinion matters too much here, but Dom also like perfectly knew what Kadril was saying for his logic, and
Yeah.
they both sound. In this case, they sounded reasonable. Dom just put out like a 20-minute video, which is a little bit much, a lot of bit much.
Yeah, yeah. I think Doublelift is losing a bit of the relevance, we'll be honest, right? It's like, I think off people who don't who he's not known for being the best player in LCS anymore because he's not active player, right? So his secondary identity was streaming with co-streaming with Meteos and Sneaky, but he stopped doing it. He stopped co-streaming with them. And his co-streams with Revenge and Spica and Pobulter, they were good, but they had significantly lower views, right? Because they're splitting views with Meteos and Sneaky. And yeah, I just think that he made some choices that have led to this outcome of him not being one of the most popular league streamers, just like period. He's on the mid tier side, right? Like he's still up there, but yeah. All right, well that's Doublelift. That's I feel like we talk about him every other episode, so gotta get that in there. But let's talk about the main topic of interest, which is MSI. We have all of our teams, yeah, pretty much all of our teams in MSI. There was a bit of format changes that we can talk about from last year. So I think the main one is just the reward is if you win MSI, you actually make it to Worlds. You get a guaranteed World spot, and something like the runner-up winner of MSI gets like a guaranteed placement in the regional situation,
Finals essentially,
something like a
the one that like
finals,
looks basically the gauntlet.
something like that. Yeah. So they'll like if you do well at MSI, you either guarantee a spot at Worlds or you get close to guaranteeing spot at Worlds, which is pretty cool. I think it's good. I still think like probably a couple MSIs of refinement before it fully makes sense because I think so far the MSI runner-up criteria is pretty. I'm not. It's pretty confusing as how it helps you get to Worlds. But whatever. We'll talk about that more as time goes and as we talk about post MSI. Who won, being like, oh yeah, they're making it to Worlds too. Um, Other things is the play-ins, right? So we have actually T1 is in play-ins, Top Esports is in play-ins, Fnatic are in play-ins, and FlyQuest are in play-ins. So I think that this year especially the way they're matched up, um, everybody, all of the top four teams in the play-ins section of MSI, they all get to bully one of the lower tier regions, right? Like so, T1 and Top Esports they get minor regions to play against. I think they get like Brazil and they get some other region that I can't remember. But then, yeah, Fnatic plays GAM, I think, and then FlyQuest plays a PSG. Those are the tougher minor regions for sure. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, give me some overall thoughts on some of the matchups and some of the format changes and anything about MSI in this first section plans.
I think that first, I mean, getting the worlds. I don't know why this wasn't like decided earlier. Um, to me, I like It just like helps the hype of the tournament
Yeah.
a lot more and build the build up to qualifying, right? It's weird that you qualified, now you know, hey, this like actually is like a big deal. Now, of course, maybe NA and EU don't have to worry about winning it or anything, but it NA was in a position to win it before. You know, they had beaten the world champions. EU has won it before, maybe at the same tournament. But my point is,
Mm.
it is possible, and this is a huge reward. Like there are teams that fall, crash and burn, and barely like. It is maybe more plausible for like an RNG to win MSI than qualify for that same year's Worlds.
Yeah.
So all to say, like I think that's great. I love this change. We've been kind of suggesting something. I didn't think went as far as to say qualify directly to Worlds, but we have suggested it. We just didn't think it would happen. So honestly, bravo, very good change. For the regional finals, I didn't even know regions were still doing regional finals. Like I thought we didn't do regional finals anymore, but maybe we do.
Mm.
So cool, like that. For the matchups, man, that's awful. FlyQuest into PSG is like of everyone in that I think everyone that we could have potentially matched up into, I think that's the hardest by far.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like so, what people don't know is that this year, or not people that we didn't mention yet, is that PSG didn't just play like against the typical PSG opponents, which is like the old LMS, the old Taiwan region. It is now Southeast Asia. It's
Mm.
Japan's also playing. So like DFM was in the finals, or not
Mm.
DFM. Shoot, I always say DFM when I see the Japanese team, but it's actually the new one, the SoftBank Hawks or whatever they're called, like the new team that got up there.
Oh
So
yeah.
Japan
I
was
don't
in the
know.
finals against DFM, or against PSG.
PSG. There you go.
So PSG actually had a way more competition this year. They didn't just have to play against like just like the second place Taiwanese team.
Yeah.
So all to say is they had a lot more competition. They might actually be more competitive this time around. They usually are pretty much a lock to get into the top four and knock out one of us
Yep.
major regions. And so hopefully it's not NA this time, but it looks like they're set up to have that matchup at least. And then besides that, I think Fnatic looked really. Hello, are you there?
Yep. Just keep going, Kevin.
Okay, yeah. So I think the Fnatic looked really sus in their final against G2. At the same time, they also had chances where I think they could have won that series. I think the Fnatic, all the lane swap shenanigans really make me concerned. All the lane swap shenanigans made me concerned that there just isn't enough stability in the region. They may not know what their win conditions are. So if they can pull it off against top Korean and Chinese teams, I mean, more power to them. But at the end of the day, it was a strategy that won you two best of fives, and both teams did not get a lot of practice at on stage for the level of play that we should be expecting from them.
Okay, who do you think's taking it? What are the games? Who's winning?
I think on my end, I think I have to vote PSG here, even though I'm
Oh,
an NA
oh my,
person.
oh my God! What the
I
fuck?
said they had higher competition back home. They have always been a threat, and more importantly than that is that FlyQuest doesn't feel that functional right now. I mean, they literally came off of the like Jensen just getting flamed out of his mind, and I think in the sense Jensen won't be too bad. Like he should be able to tank that and not care personally, but I think the
Mm.
team mood cannot possibly be good with how many like circle jerk my top and jungler are the best players ever in the league. We carry each other all the time. Conversations you hear, I feel like that leads to at least the bot lane feeling like they're just not part of the team. And you can kind of see in their play too. So I think all of that adds up to me not even knowing. Like honestly, I don't know anything about PSG other than that they had a more competitive league this year compared to usual. But to me, like that's enough to say that I think we're in trouble.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Voting against the FlyQuest. Throw
They
an
lost
NA
Team
into the
Liquid, dude.
trash. Yeah, Team Liquid's a good team, bro.
I
Man,
mean,
I think
not
you've been
according to
hurt too
Double
many
Lift.
times. You've been hurt too many times, Kevin, okay? Your vision is skewed. You're in pain from all the times Team Liquid has hurt you. But it's okay, they won. They're good now,
Yeah,
alright?
they are good now,
And
but
FlyQuest lost to
FlyQuest
them
might not be.
3-1. So I think FlyQuest is gonna be just fine. I think they're gonna take it to them. I think it's gonna be 2-1 against
Uh-huh.
PSG. I think it's gonna be close. It's gonna be tough, you know. Um, They do have Maple and Betty and other old guys that have been on there for a while. But you know what? We have Inspired and Buppo, and they are cool on the Rift. I think they just had a bad finals, and they're going to bring it back and do much better. And Jensen never disappoints internationally. Jensen's like the opposite of like some other mid laners, right? Like he does not do poorly against international mid laners that aren't like Chovy or Faker or something, right? He actually always consistently plays very well against minor region teams, right? When he's on C9 or Team Liquid, he never lost to minor region teams. So um, I think that the top side of FlyQuest will be
Mm.
just fine, and then that the bot side of FlyQuest might struggle, but this is going to be a great litmus test and a great warm up to see how much they can bring to the table, the rookie bot lane. And you just kind of have to make your bets, right? And I think that you know what, I think they are going to perform on the international stage, especially against a minor region team, and this will be their first time to show it. First impressions are very important, right? Busio and Masu are going to um, shape their international reputations, right? This will be their first time going up here. So I think that they'll shape it into a good reputation and that this will be a good tournament for them. So yeah, I'm gonna take it for FlyQuest. And yeah, and then honestly, we don't even have to predict T1 and the other team. They're called Estral Esports. Congrats to making it to MSI. They get another chance in the lower bracket. Maybe they can beat PSG down there, but we're just gonna give it to T1. Okay, I think they're just gonna get out of the group.
Maybe they can choose a first blood. Like I don't know, man.
Yeah,
We're gonna have this clipped in a short later when they like have the biggest upset of all time, and we're just sitting there
sure.
like,
Please,
okay,
yeah,
what?
destroy T1. Yeah,
I
that'd
don't
be
even know
sick.
what region Estral is. Are they Brazil? No, Pain was in the finals this year, but they didn't win again. And I don't think Pain is it
Latin
Latin
America.
America. Yeah.
They're Latin American. Yes, they are. They're Lat. So that's cool. Good for them for being here. Good luck against T1. Oh, they have Jose Diodo, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
So good
that's
luck,
actually
Jose
pretty
Diodo.
exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Jose Diodo, he recently went like 27 and like 2 or something in like Korean Challenger. So he is smurfing in Korean solo
Mm-hmm.
queue. So that's good for him. Um, yeah, and then this is double elim, right? So even if FlyQuest loses to PSG, they'll get another chance. Like PSG will probably lose to T1 in the upper bracket, and then as long as FlyQuest beats Estral Esports, they'll get another chance to play PSG. So I think with a minimum of 2 shots for FlyQuest to make it out, I think they'll make it out, right? I think the group is going to be T1 and FlyQuest. Um, Thoughts on that?
I
Have the
think
same opinion?
that's very fair. I
Okay.
said I'm saying like I think at the beginning of the tournament they're not going to win, but I don't think that will be the end result of like a rematch.
Okay, sweet. So we got FlyQuest T1, and let's talk about the next group. Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there, just like T1 and Estral. I'm gonna say Top Esports is going to poop on Loud and probably just get out of the group without dropping a game. So that'll be cool. Although to be fair, Fnatic and Top Esports they do have some history with each other. I think back in the year 2020, Fnatic played against Top Esports and it went to 5 games. All 5 games, it was a banger. Um, this is when they had Nemesis and Reckless on the team, so long time ago. So they do have some history with each other. Completely different rosters though. But Fnatic versus Gam is the interesting matchup. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Fnatic's going to take it? Do you think Gam's going to take it? How much are we flaming EU today?
So Gam really didn't look that good going in, right? I just said I was saying while you were gone, like these lane swaps is really bad on stage practice. If it's a good thing that most of Fnatic is just the same roster for the most part,
Hmm.
but so they have other stage experience. But I was like, they weren't getting much experience, honestly, from that. That's going to be immediately relevant, unless they're every EU team's just pulling up lane swaps against Korean teams. Like, I mean, sure, go for it. Um, no, sorry, well, against Chinese teams in this case, but Asian teams. All this to say though, like that's ignoring the elephant in the room, which is that Vietnam is so doomed. Like they had a horrible year, and not because of gameplay, because of behind the scenes tomfoolery. No, actually fuckery. Honestly, that's the level it's on. So like, where was Gam supposed to get real practice? They were playing against like SOFM support who had to sub in last minute. This is like
Good stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's hilarious, but it's a
Yeah.
complete sham of a season, and they once again get the short end of the stick going into an international tournament. There's just no way if they win, like we should all be cheering for them because their league is like basically torn up right now. I don't even
Yeah.
know if it can survive both financially and also on its reputation. Like, why would they keep it around another year in its current form without just merging it into a big Southeast Asian league, right? Which they're already doing. They put Japan in there, so
Yeah. No, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean it sucks for Gam and them, but hey, Levi's in there, right? Levi's still kicking strong. He was in NA for a little bit, but now he's not. So, and they have an NA kind of player. That means they can beat Europe. I'm down for Gam to take down Fnatic. Screw it. We don't need him. Fnatic sucks. So if that happens, that'd be cool. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Fnatic's probably gonna 2-0 them if I'm being honest.
yeah.
And I think that this group is probably going to be Fnatic top esports, just like I predicted. Um, NA and Korea in the previous group, right? FlyQuest T1. I think it's just going to be Fnatic top esports that are going to make it out of this group. It would be sick to have GAM esports do an upset because their region needs it, right? This would mean a lot, I think, to their country and to their region, and we would get to meme Fnatic for ages. I will say, I do think Oscarin is a total fraud. I feel like that guy sucks. So if there's any opportunity for Gam, maybe it's in the top lane, but probably not though. Yeah, and then let's see. Oh, let's also talk about. All right, FlyQuest and T1 are inevitably going to match up. Do you think FlyQuest can beat T1 in just one game? One game. Can they take a game? Can they go 2-1, or is it just a 2-0 for T1?
It's like possible, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think
No.
it'll be happening. I can't physically say PSG is going to upset them in the first game, and then in the same
Mm.
breath say, yeah, but we'll take an upset game off of T1. I'd love to see it. It is
Yeah.
possible. Whippo has like the capability. Jensen getting the rematch against Faker is
Yeah.
pretty.
Bodied by Jensen,
I
the
mean,
sequel.
one of my favorite tweets into getting bodied, but like I respect it, man. I love that for that's one of the things that makes me like Jensen a lot. So, no.
Okay.
Like, what?
Good talk. Good talk. All
We
right.
do.
Then
What are they gonna do in bot lane? Like, usually you have to win through bot lane to beat this version of T1. What are they gonna do?
yeah.
They are worse than Yan and Cordy, who could quite ostensibly actually compete internationally, like at least hold their own. But Michin, no,
Yeah.
man.
No,
Let's
yeah.
not. If
All
there
right.
was like
Enough
a
of your NA
stylistic
Doomer
matchup, I
takes.
would say something, right?
Yeah.
But
No more NA Doomer from you, okay? Let's not hear it anymore. All right, let's hear some positive stuff. Let's hear some good news. I think that they can cheese a game. You know why? Because we got Blippo inspired and Jensen in the top side. We just give bot lane some stupid Exodia bullshit, right? Give them something stupid like Senna and like Seraphine or something, and then we just go hard in top side. We give Blippo, Olaf, and we run them down. Okay, I think it's possible we can take a game. It's not very likely, but I like to hope. And then let's actually talk about Fnatic versus Top Esports. I think inevitably that they are going to match up. Now, here's where I do think it gets spicy. I was just talking crap about Fnatic, but let's be honest, Fnatic's bot lane is pretty cracked. It's Noah and Jun. They are insane. Okay, so Fnatic, I didn't think they were amazing in the finals, but someone who did show up in the finals for sure was Jun. Jun was a crazy player in the playoffs. His Renata, his Blitzcrank, everything was so insanely good. So I think if there's a chance for an upset at this tournament in the play-on section at least, it could be Fnatic versus Top Esports, just because Fnatic's bot lane is actually just a Korean bot lane, and they will go crazy. And honestly, Jackie Love and Mako just doesn't hit the same, right? These are some legendary names, have not been hitting the same as they have been back in the day. Okay, they're still great. They're still some of the best players in the world, but Jackie Love and Mako are just not the same from back in the day when they were like really cracked, right? They're both world champions and just have not been the same since. So yeah, that's my take. Any takes on Fnatic versus Top Esports?
I think you had a really good point about the caliber of Fnatic. I will agree with the caveat that top esports spot lane currently, with the name power they have, are not playing to that level. During the regular season, though, there were times where Jackie Love was insane, like still
Yeah,
this year. But as we got into the best of series, there were a lot of times like I watched him just like move command up, balance Senna, and just get caught and die. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
I think Mako's still playing fairly well, but it's a combo. So you can't really. He's not Mako though. He's playing fairly well, as in like he's better than like a Mark or something. I don't know, just like a random non. Like why did he name himself Mark? Anyways, then again, Piotrek also named himself Mark, so you know it's how it is. So all to say is, I think you're right. It is possible. I'd like to think that I like to think that Ben will just like dumpster Oscar in so hard that like it's not
Yeah.
gonna be close. But
Bin's not on Tip Esports.
sorry,
Bin
not
is on
369.
BLG.
Well, then 369
Yeah,
even more so.
369.
Sorry, they
Yeah.
keep getting swapped around, but 369 would dumpster him even more. No, in
Yeah.
terms of
Yeah.
the ability. But I'll give credit to Oscar, and we flamed him last year, and it wasn't actually that bad. He actually got some plays when
Hey,
he was playing solo queue too. Like, eh, I think
nah,
top will
three.
win. I said all of that to just say top will win, but you are
Yeah.
absolutely correct that there is a path forward.
And then 369, he got solo killed by Adam on Garen. So, 369 is known to int against top laners for no reason. Okay, I don't think Bin has that reputation. 369, 100% has a reputation of being an insanely good top laner who just rolls a 3 against some random ass other top laner. Okay, it
Yeah,
happens.
what was the
So,
result of that game?
yeah, I mean, they still won. It was JDG. It was JDG versus BDS, okay? They still won. But hey, I'm just saying, Adam solo killed his ass, okay? And then if you have 369 is on a different team that's not JDG, and Fnatic has a way better bot lane than BDS ever had. Yeah, anything can happen. And then
I'll
we
also
got some.
add on to that Tien at
Hmm.
an international event. Like he was actually
Oh,
okay during this playoffs, but he definitely had moments where I was like, ooh.
no,
And
he had the classic TN finals this year. Literally the goat up until finals, and then close your eyes. Close your eyes, okay? TN in finals is not what's up. He's only had one good finals his entire life, and he won worlds, okay?
and
So
he looked
like
really good.
he looked really good. He had a whole Ning performance, but like no, ever since then, this guy has made so many finals just to look like garbage in them. So it's international. He has the same thing, right? Losing in group stages. Like I think they lost in group stages literally like 2 years ago, right? This top esports roster with a couple different people, but it was TN and it was Jackie Love. So yeah, and it was to a European team. It was to Rogue. So anything could really happen.
It could
Um,
definitely happen. This is much more likely to be an upset.
Top esports is probably one of the weakest LPL representatives that regularly gets sent to international, right? Like BLG and like even Weibo last year was like more consistent. Like most Chinese teams are pretty good against the field. Ellen or not LNG, Top esports is the 1 week Chinese team that hits international. Yeah, so that's the play-in stage pretty much broken down. Um, I think we'll save the main stage conversations for later. So we'll just get the play-in stage out first, and yeah. And I think we're gonna close out this episode pretty soon. I'm afraid of my internet cutting out on me randomly. It's been making me paranoid the whole time. But I just wanted to ask you, Kevin, right now, at this very moment, before the tournament has started, we will be casting our votes for who will win MSI. So who is it going to be, Kevin? Who's winning MSI? And this is what we will carry our bragging rights to, okay? Whoever gets this right between you and me, $1 million. So no pressure.
Uh, it's in China this year, so I think T1's gonna win it.
Wow. Okay.
Because the
Not
Chinese teams
expected.
historically do pretty badly on Chinese soil, even though it is MSI, which is like China super buff. Like I would
Yeah.
bet BLG normally, but
Yeah.
how I imagine is BLG will beat Gen G, and then T1 will be top, and then just like win in a close series. That's how I feel. That's how I've divined it in my head. It's not logical. I think
Wow.
BLG is the favorite, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah. I think Bill's just favorite too.
but I just in my mind I'm
Crazy.
like some weird twist of fate. T1 will be in the finals. They'll beat them up, and I'll be like shit.
Wow.
So
You're a
I'm just firing my shot already. I'm like fuck.
you sound like the league dad right now. You're literally the league dad like
Well,
incarnate.
I mean I've hung out with them for like half a decade now, and
Yeah.
I'm getting up there in years.
Yeah, you're getting old, man. Oh my god. Yeah, like only League Dad would predict T1. Like this is probably one of the worst splits T1 has had. They're getting DDoS. They can't practice. They weren't even supposed to beat Gen 2 HLE, and then they did. I guess so. T1 always has a clutch factor. That's true. The fact that they made it to 5 games in the LCK finals. Can I just say what a crazy good finals, by the way.
Such
Um,
a good finals.
it was really clutch for them to even get that far. They had no right to get that far considering their year. But at the same time, I just can't, man. I just can't. I think BLG is going to take it. I'm going to go with the safe, normal take. BLG number one. They don't have JDG. If JDG didn't exist, BLG would have won like 4 more times like last year and this year. So,
Yeah,
oh
that is
yeah,
true. And this is the team that did just curb stomp the core of Gen G and the whole T1 roster last year, and they
yeah.
just had upgrades. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they got Knight now instead of Jigao. That's it.
yeah,
That's pretty
they can
good.
upgrade.
It's a pretty good upgrade. Yeah. So, I mean, there's all sorts of ideas about choking, of course, right? Knight is a known international choker, but so is Chovy, and yet, like, I
But
don't know,
one last
T1,
MSI, man. I mean, yeah, he's a
he won
choker,
less
but he won
MSI,
international, one hundred
so
percent more than trophy.
yeah, that's true. And then neither of us are predicting Genji, which is crazy because Genji looks so damn good this year, but I
I
can't do
know,
it.
man.
I'm
They
sorry, I cannot
literally
predict
farmed
Genji.
T1 4 times in a row. Like you can't just look me in the eye and say, "Yeah, they're so good." When they can
Yeah,
only they've sold their soul to beat T1, and they look
pretty
like
much.
they get 3-0'd by BLG last year with Yagawa on it. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
you Chovy and Yagawa are not on the same sentence, even though Yagawa is like actually very good.
Yeah,
The
he's pretty good.
Chovy should be the best player in the world, but he never shows up, and I will not believe in him until he does. And
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Yeah. Rip JDG. What a sick team that got broken apart because they didn't win last year. They didn't Grand
Yeah.
Slam. Um, but like, yeah, because they lost they lost 369 and they lost Knight, and I'm just like, damn, unfortunate. Because JDG is still a cool team, but they are not here this year. Um, yeah. All right. Well, that's our predictions. That's gonna be it. Now let's end the podcast pretty much for the most part, except I'm gonna slip in a little bit of ARAM content.
Mm.
Okay, because I've been playing a lot of ARAM too. I've just been playing a lot of League in general. You got any cool builds? You got anything interesting you've been cooking up in ARAM? Anything
Yeah.
fun?
As of late,
Let's
so
hear it.
there's two things. This is only good on certain characters like Scion and things that are brawling a lot.
Hmm.
I actually think that Ingenious Hunter, Unending, and Fimble Winter is actually quite good on certain
Mm-hmm.
scenarios because if you can keep that uptime, it's actually
Mm-hmm.
crazy how much shield and heal value you'll get in combat and how cheap, relatively cheap the items are. The other thing I've been doing recently is if I know I have a carry on my team, like it's a pre-made, and I know someone's on a carry, I just go Knight's Vow first item. I've actually just like decided this is a 2200 gold item that like actually heals me more than Unending Desire most of the time. And
Mm.
this item I can switch mid combat to someone else. So I actually have knightsing two people because my if my knighted person dies, switch it over. It's damage reduction. It helps. Not only does it keep me healthy and keeps them alive, if they stay alive a little longer, they get fed more often, right? Because they're dying less often. So to me, this item is the most cost efficient tank item you can build. I like
Yeah.
to go knights into like Mogs, and then I just sit there and I just simp for my character, or knights into whatever, right? Whatever
Yeah.
fits the scenario. So those are my builds. They're all very tank oriented because I'm just like I think that's where the excitement was for me. Besides that, pick Zeri. She's plus 10, minus 10. I don't think she's dog shit. Although Jinx is the highest win rate, 80 carry, and she definitely picked Jinx, but pick Sari. I think she's actually quite good.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah. I
oh,
mean,
against
you're.
Skarner. Pick Skarner. Snowball.
Yeah.
When you land a snowball, you can hit it E and just drag the enemy 100% of the time towards your team,
Oh wow.
suppressed, and it's very funny.
That's messed up. Yeah, that's Skarner's a little broken. Luckily, he's not enabled for MSI because I think he would take over the entire tournament. Um, but yeah, no, your Knight's Vow. See, it's kind of cool. Like we see LCS pro junglers picking up Knight's Vow now. We see pro junglers and like supports first iteming Knight's Vow. It was happening a bit last year too. I just want to say that I've been building Knight's Vow for on junglers and tanks and supports for ages. I've been building Knight's Vow in ARAM for a long time. So it's interesting that people are catching on nowadays when Knight's Vow has actually been broken for years. Years and years this item has been broken. 5 plus years, honestly, since Mythics have been in the game. So yeah. Good. I'm happy everyone's playing Knight's Vow. You're playing Knight's Vow. Inspired is first iteming Knight's Vow in Sejuani. It's just everybody's picking Knight's Vow now. It's
If you're
great.
so strong, how is there DR on an item that can also heal and it costs 2200? And his stats are like meh, but they're not terrible.
Stats are pretty good, honestly, for the item. The stats are actually fine, and then the build path is also pretty good too, right? You get health and armor. Everybody likes Kindle gems and stuff, so pretty good. And then yeah, the Ingenious Hunter builds. That's what I was going to talk about. So the Fimbulwinter, Unending Despair. Yeah, that's all great. Everybody's been playing those. I've been seeing them a lot. I've been playing them a lot. You can also do so much extra funky stuff though, right? Like you can build Locket on the tank now because you get super low Locket cooldowns.
Yep.
Um, you know, Kanik, it's normally a 15-second cooldown. It gets reduced, right? It'll be like an 8 or 9-second cooldown to refund the Kanik shield, stuff like that. I've also been doing Ingenious Hunter on bruisers and fighters and stuff, and then getting an early Eclipse, right? Lower the cooldown for the Eclipse shield. That's pretty normal. But my favorite is definitely Sterix. Obviously, it's getting nerfed next patch, but Sterix was a 60-second cooldown. With full Ingenious stacks, it goes to 40. You will just have Sterix almost every single fight. You'll rack up those shield number values, so I loved getting that one. I also love getting Ingenious Hunter on Enchanters and rushing Redemption and Shirelias. Oh my god, you will be spam healing and move speeding your team. I think it's my favorite. That's been my favorite build, has been playing an Enchanter, going the Ingenious Hunter build, and spamming Redemption and Shirelias and like Locket over and over again on my
Yeah,
team.
it's super
Because
fun.
it's super fun, super low cooldown. Another pretty good one is if you're like the assassiny mage type of champions, you do Ingenious Hunter. You can do really low cooldown Rocket Belt and Zonias. So I do that a lot on like Diana and Akali and stuff like that. So a lot of fun stuff. Ingenious Hunter has got to be the most fun rune, I think, right now. There's
Yeah.
so many options you can do with the different items these days that it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that it exists in the game because I read it. I'm like, isn't this Giga busted?
Yeah.
I'll add some extra caveats. I've also started theory crafting a bit. If you are playing an enchanter like Lulu and you're always sitting behind your 80 carry or whatever your bruiser, you can probably build knights too if you don't have
Yeah,
anything
I
to
do.
kill it. Like it
I
just
almost always, yeah, do.
because
Yeah.
you're just a pocket of health that generally stays healthy, and you are just there for DR, and then you'll get healed. Like it's actually a pretty good synergy. Not Lulu. Yumi with knights is the most broken thing ever, and it needs to be nerfed. Because Yumi can't be targeted, so you get a full health bar versus effectiveness, and you can't target the Yumi. And I don't think you should be building Unending Despair without Ingenious. I actually think it's kind of average to
Yeah.
meh when you don't have it. So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I definitely think yeah, I build Knight's Vow on enchanters too, especially when there's like you have one super fed carry. Sometimes like if it might be better just to get like normal enchanter stuff if you have a bunch of carries, so like your whole team's a bunch of carries or something like that. But especially if you got that one carry, yeah, Knight's Vow is really, really strong in those scenarios. But yeah, that's gonna do it with a little bit of ARAM talk, some cool ARAM builds. Go play them, go check them out, take Ingenious Hunter, buy some items that use it, and have some fun. But that's going to do it for us on this episode of the podcast. We're excited for MSI. We're excited to never have internet problems for me again, please. Comcast, like, can you stop, please? But otherwise, try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.